Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation by Railbookers today of 7 of the greatest train rides on Earth. We have a great presentation in store for you today. If you are a rail enthusiast like myself, then we have certainly something that you're going to be interested in. My name is Kyle Smith, and I will be your host today. I am the Business Development Manager for Railbookers USA, and it is my privilege to spend some time with you today to talk about some of the most well-known travel destinations in the world to see by rail and our top trending packages. But before we begin, I'd like to do just a quick mic check to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear. So if you can see my screen and hear me loud and clear, if you go into the GoToWebinar control box and where it says question there and give me a yes or no, that would be great. Everything is checking out on my end, and good stuff, getting a lot of yeses here. So I'm just going to linger for a few extra minutes as our registration numbers are still climbing right now, so very good. And so before we really get started, I'd like to just talk with you all directly for a few minutes. First of all, I certainly hope and pray you and your families are safe and well, and everyone is healthy as we've been battling this pandemic. And I'm sure that most of you have been working from home, and certainly hope that transition has been smooth and so forth. And I'm going to wait just another minute since our numbers are still climbing here. But where's everybody from? Would you guys give me an idea of where you're at? Maybe statewide, something like that. I'm in California, which is where Railbookers is headquartered. Just kind of curious where all of our visitors today are from. So let's see, Virginia, British Columbia, Canada, very good. Kentucky, Portland, Oregon, okay. Texas, the DC area, okay, very good. North Dakota, interesting, very good. Another Oregon. Let's see, San Francisco, very good. New Mexico, all right, so we're kind of all spread out here, very good. I appreciate your feedback on that. Okay. Well, continuing on here, this webinar is being done live. So if you have any questions, by all means, ask them in the question box. I will provide you all an answer at the end of the presentation. And I do have some free handouts for you. I would encourage you to download those to your computers. I got 4 of them. Mostly the rail network maps and destinations close to home, that sort of stuff. I would encourage you to do all of that as well. And so as we continue on here, I'd like to give you all just a quick little introduction to who we are as an organization. So Railbookers is part of a much larger organization called the Yankee Leisure Group Incorporated, which you probably have not heard of. We are the largest independent rail tour operator in the world, specializing in independent rail vacations. And we do that through a number of different brands. Amtrak Vacations, which is one you'll probably recognize. Our organization is the official tour operator for Amtrak, our national train service. Now, Amtrak, just to give you a really quick story, Amtrak moves over 35 million Americans a year on the rails all over the country, mainly in the Northeast Corridor on the Acela, the regional trains, and so forth. And it was back in '07 that they were getting a lot of their customers asking them about a rail vacation, using the train to go on a vacation, stay at a hotel, do some sightseeing and all the fun stuff of travel. Well, being a transportation company, they don't know anything about vacation packages. That would be like going to your dentist and asking him about the chest pains you've been having. He or she's not going to be able to assist you. So Amtrak reached out to us and we became their tour operator. So right now, for what it's worth, they are seeing Amtrak Vacations a lot of rail inquiries to our national parks. So Glacier National Park in Montana, Yellowstone, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, let's see, Grand Tetons, and many others I can't think of offhand, but those are the big ones. And Amtrak goes either directly to the national park or it gets within 100 miles, and our packages take care of your transportation. So I mean, everyone's here today because I would imagine that most of you are ready to travel when you feel it's safe. That's been the consensus among our customers for the past several months. When it's cleared to be safe, I'm happy to go out and travel, and I think that's why you're here today. So depending on what you're looking for, I am going to be talking mainly today about international travel throughout Europe as well as Canada. I'm not really touching on the USA, and we'll leave that for Amtrak Vacations. So they do have webinars as well, and you could always give them a call to find out when those are. Moving on here, so Railbookers, I'm going to skip over Yankee holidays, but Railbookers is our international brand. So Canada, Europe, Asia, Australia, South Africa. If the train goes there, then so do we. So our brands cover worldwide rail travel. Now, these are the brochures for each brand that we have right now. I would obviously encourage you to go to our website and request a digital copy. We'll get the hard copies out to you as soon as the stay-at-home orders are lifted and the country's fully reopened again. We can go ahead and send you a hard copy brochure if that's something you're looking for. But by all means, go to the different websites, AmtrakVacations.com, Railbookers.com, and see what we have to offer worldwide. So why travelers love Railbookers? Well, last year alone, we moved over 45,000 passengers across all brands, domestic and international. And the consensus among surveys are that we have an average hold time of only 3 seconds. You give us a call, you'll get us right on the phone, and we can put together your next dream vacation. And we can fulfill your bucket list experiences, no matter what you're looking to do when it comes to rail. Freedom and flexibility, and I'll expand on that. And traveling by train is the scenic way to travel, and I think that's obviously a given here. With plenty of room to roam, and all of our itineraries are customizable, as you'll see here momentarily. Now, one thing we provide you, since we offer independent vacations, and independent meaning that you're on your own, you have to fly to the destination. We'll put together your rail and your hotels and your sightseeing, but you're going to have to get to the train station on your own, to the hotels on your own. There's no official tour guide, but we do make it easy for you to stay in contact with us even while you're traveling. So we have offices worldwide, as you can see here. So no matter where you're at, you'll have access to all of our locations, and our staff would be more than happy to answer whatever questions you may have while you're traveling with us. Now, this is our maximum flexibility offer right now. We're trying to make it easy for those that are still willing to make reservations. For any new reservations, you can change your travel dates up until 5 days before departure. You can cancel or completely rebook the trip for some other time in a 2-year period. And you will not take on any change or cancellation fees. So you basically tell us what you'd like to do. If you're here today and you already have a reservation with us, you can do the same thing. You have up until 5 days before departure to either rebook or fully cancel. There will not be any cancellation fee. So that is our policy right now. So moving on here, one thing we do is we take the mystery out of rail travel. So this is one of the maps that I have for you in the handouts section. I would highly encourage you to have this. This tells you exactly where the high-speed rail trains go all over Europe. So you'll notice all the different colors, and they all go international. So questions we get day in and day out are, where do the trains go? How long would it take to get from this destination to that destination? Are there any layovers? What's the luggage like? All the questions of transportation that can come out of this. Well, as rail experts, we know the answers to everything because this is what we're known for in the travel industry. Most people obviously know what a train is, but very few people understand the logistics of it, how often it leaves a train station, the directions it goes. So let me do a little trivia question here. I'm just kind of curious. So let's keep it with the US travel right now. Most people will know how long it'll take to fly from, let's say, Los Angeles to New York or vice versa. You could probably figure out within a few seconds how many hours that'll take and roughly what a cost would be, just because people know the airlines, where the layovers are and so forth. But very few people, like I've been telling you, know the rail. So here's the question. How long do you think it would take to take the Amtrak from Los Angeles, California to New York City? Keep in mind that this is possible, by the way. It is very easy to do this, but anybody want to take a guess? How long would it take to go from one end of the country to the other? And what would a round trip ticket cost in a basic sleeper? Anybody want to take a crack at that? Let's see, I got some responses already. 6 days, 5 days, 2 days. Okay, very good. So the winner there is Kevin. You're the closest. It's actually 4 days, 3 nights to get across country. Coming out of LA, you would go through parts of New Mexico, all the way into Chicago. That's Amtrak's main hub. Change trains and then overnight to New York City. So it would take a total of 3 nights in each direction. And the cost there could be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,200, give or take, depending on the availability. So anyway, most people don't realize how long it might take or how it all comes together. That's where we come in, because in Europe, for example, there's 5 different ways to get to Venice from London. Most people don't realize that. So if that was a destination you're considering, what we're going to ask you is, well, there's 5 ways to do it. Do you want the most direct route or do you want a scenic route? And we're going to advise you of all the different ways you can do it so you can make an informed decision. So moving on here. Here is the Canadian rail network map for the Via Rail. Now, this is Canada's national train service, their version of Amtrak. And I will be highlighting a Canadian Rockies package a little bit later, but Via Rail goes all over Canada. I don't know if any of you here have taken the Via Rail in Canada. Has anyone that ever done this before up in Canada, been on the Via Rail or anything like that? If so, I'd like to kind of know where and when that was. That would be fun to know. But Via Rail goes all over the country. Now, the most popular route is going to be the Canadian line. This is the red horizontal line across your screen from Vancouver to Toronto in either direction. So it looks like Sandra's done this before, heading across country. And that's one of our most popular rail itineraries in North America. And you go right through the heart of the Canadian Rockies, and I'll highlight that here later today. But we also have packages up through the Northeast corridor of Canada. And it looks like Kevin did this back in the 80s. Very good. So, if you want to see Toronto, Niagara Falls, Ottawa, Montreal, I'm just naming the cities here, Quebec City, Halifax, no problem. We have hotel packages in each of those destinations and can definitely get you the train ride. So no matter what you're looking to do, we're getting a lot of inquiries right now for the fall foliage in September for Northeast Canada. So there's something to keep in mind as well. So moving on here. Now, one thing we're able to offer you that you're not going to find elsewhere is direct partnerships with the rail operators. Now, if you tried to shop a train right now for, let's say, from London to Germany in the month of, let's say, October for the heck of it, well, those fares and schedules are not available to the general public yet because the rail companies don't release the schedules and the fares until about 30 to 40 days before departure, leaving you a very small window to make your rail reservations. So if you're planning to go to Europe and you want to go independently, you're able to look at your airfare right now, I would imagine. You can book your hotels, maybe your tours, and then if you're looking to use rail, whether it's just to get from one city to the next, or that's the major method of transportation, you're going to have to wait until about 30 days before departure. That gives some travelers a little bit of anxiety because, it's a long ways on the rails. What if there's not enough seats? All those things can come to mind. Well, if you come to us, we can book European rail 24 months in advance. That's 2 years. With our direct partnerships, we know the fares, we know the schedules, and a lot of our customers right now are really wanting to travel next year. So now is really the time, if you're considering this, to put all this together for a few reasons. Number one, we can guarantee your pricing and everything 2 years out. Number two, supply and demand. Everything's going to be much more affordable. And so there's that to keep in mind as well. So we work with all rail operators around the world. This is just a small sample you're seeing here, the Trenitalia in Italy, the Deutsche Bahn, that's German rail, and many others. So we are basically the one-stop shop for everything rail. So how are the European rail operators maintaining a safe environment? Well, they've come out with their COVID-19 policies and procedures. They're no different than what we're seeing already here at home. They're requiring facial coverings in the train stations and on board for not only for yourself, but the staff is doing the same thing. They've stopped the sale of food and drinks on board the train. Now, that is a major service on the train that a lot of people are wanting. It's a temporary freeze on all of that just to slow the spread. So those trains are running daily right now. So there's no food and drink on board. However, you can bring your own stuff on board the train year round. So keep that in mind. They've changed the seat configuration to allow for social distancing. So Amtrak has done this primarily. They're only filling their trains about half full every other row to allow for a social distance. They are cleaning and sanitizing the stations, the bathrooms, the trains every hour. And there's contactless ticket control. So all these trains have apps. They're encouraging everyone to use those for ticketing purposes. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm sure you could have guessed all this already, but this is what they're going to be doing as we hopefully start moving away from the spread of the pandemic. Some of these policies may evolve or change, just kind of all depends. I think we're all in the same boat. We're wondering what life will be like once this whole thing comes to an end. For example, I think handshaking is now forever done. I don't think we'll ever shake hands again as a society overall. So, I mean, just one example among others. But this is what the trains are doing right now as they come out with their COVID-19 response. Now, here is what Railbookers offers. So we do rail packages with hotels, sightseeing tours, and so on. So when you book a package with us, whether it's one of the ones I'll be showing you today or something we build for you as a customized trip, you'll have confirmed seat reservations. Now, what does that mean, confirmed seat reservations? Well, on the train, sometimes you have to make a reservation and then there's a supplemental booking fee to confirm your seat, just the way it goes. We include all of that for you. So when you book with us, your trains are officially booked for you in your name and held. We also do hotel accommodations for you in all major cities that we offer. So the hotels we offer, to keep it simple, are anywhere between 3, 4, and 5-star rated properties. So we have something for everybody. If you're trying to keep your budget within reason or you spare no expense, we have something for you as well. The hotels are city center, so you're not going to be out of the way. You're not going to be, 10 miles outside the city and have to rely on Uber or Lyft to get around. You're in the heart of the city. Most of our hotels are between 1 and 3 miles of a train station. Like I said before, we specialize in independent travel, so you're going to have to make your way from the train station to the hotel, and I'll give you some good advice on how to successfully do all of that. We offer sightseeing activities, so all major sightseeing activities that are well known and associated with a major city, we include as well. So in Paris, for example, we often include a day trip out to Normandy. That's been a popular request. So our packages will naturally have that among many other things. We can also do ferries. If you're looking to go from Bari in Italy over into Greece or from Holyhead in the UK to Ireland, just two main examples, we can do that for you as well. And any overnight rail journeys that you're looking to do, we can fulfill. So 2 days to 2 years is our motto here. So our products are anywhere from small getaways, what we call, where a simple 3-day, 2-night getaway to a full-blown 7 to 15 days across the entire continent of Europe and all in between. We have something for everybody. So if you're looking to start small, do a simple little getaway. Once the stay-at-home orders are removed, then we can handle that for you. Or if you're looking to do a full-blown itinerary across the nation or the majority of Europe, we can do that for you as well. So here are the sightseeing activities that we really specialize in. Now I'm going to generalize a lot of this, but we specialize in skip the line tours. So here's a picture of the Colosseum in Rome. Some of our employees traveled to Italy last year to see this destination up close and personal, and we gave them the skip the line tour. Would you want to stand in that line in the middle of August when it's 100 degrees and humid? I don't think so. So a skip the line tour. bypass all the people, and it'll save yourself a lot of time. So among others, we do all the popular sightseeing activities, and I'll outline some of those a little bit later. So moving on to rail travel, here's what you need to know. So I'm going to generalize a lot of this because, as you can see, these are a lot of different train lines that we book a whole lot of. So in Europe, you have both luxury rail as well as commuter rail. Now you'll notice the Glacier Express in the top left corner. That's considered luxury rail. The people on board this train are tourists from all over the world looking to see Switzerland up close and personal. We specialize in luxury rail travel, and I'll have a highlight of that here in a minute. But we also do the commuter rails all through the different cities. So, for example, you'll notice the Eurostar over on the right. That's the train from London to Paris. Now, with all bullet trains in Europe, I'm sure you kind of already knew this, they operate at a high rate of speed, about 200 miles per hour on average. That makes it easy for you to get from one place to another in a relatively short amount of time. So to generalize it, in Europe, there are very few overnight rail journeys. They are mainly same-day travel. Here's an example. I went from London to Geneva, Switzerland in a single day. That's a long ways across Europe. It's 2.5 hours to Paris coming out of London, and it was 4.5 hours to Geneva coming out of Paris through the southeast part of France. Very scenic, I might add. I thoroughly enjoyed that travel, but that's a long ways, and those are all day trains. Now on the commuter rail, the accommodations, we're able to book for you whatever you'd like. So there's always the standard accommodations, coach in other words. And that is basically your seat reservations. You would need to purchase food and beverage on board the train, and that'll be out of your own pockets. You'll have the ability to store your luggage on board the train, either right with you or overhead like you would on an airplane above your seat. So there are ways to bring your luggage on board the train. The luggage guidelines are pretty standard, just like the airlines. Your larger pieces of suitcases can be stored in the back of the train car, and your carry-ons can go above your seat in the overhead compartments, just like on any airline. And so now there is always first class, and that's usually what we're booking for our customers 90% of the time. First class gives you more legroom, a much larger seat. Meals are usually included, as well as other great amenities, such as complimentary Wi-Fi, there's newspapers, and things like that. So now in terms of price, I really can't give an average price difference, but it's not much on the Eurostar, the Trenitalia in Italy. It's worth the upgrade to go into first class. It'll enhance the quality of your train trip. Now, the majority of these trains offer a snack car. You'll notice the Renfe train there in Spain, where you can walk to the snack car and purchase out of pocket whatever you'd like. Now, this is what's currently not being offered on the European trains, but most people are not looking to travel this year. So if it's next year you're looking at, everything should be back to normal, or so we hope. So when it comes to commuter rail, that's a general consensus of how all of that comes together. But luxury travel is what it's really all about. This is what we book a whole lot of. Our customers are, our customer base overall tend to be retirees and have the means and the resources and the time to do luxury rail travel. And I'm going to highlight a lot of these trains today in our presentation. So I'm going to start with the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, the VSOE for short. One of the world's most luxurious trains, and it is definitely a step back in time to the latter part of the 19th, early 20th century. You'll notice the Grand Suite here, and it's all inclusive with meals, beverages. They have a very strict policy when it comes to your appearance. They mandate that men wear slacks and jackets or suits. The women have to wear dresses. It's a very classy train, so they do have a dress code. And all meals are included on board this train. You may recall the popular movie that came out a few years ago, Murder on Board the Orient Express, and that is this train. Now the Gone train is in Australia, and we do a lot of that one as well. That's a 3-day journey across Australia on this luxurious train, very similar to the VSOE in terms of its class of service. You're looking at a standard cabin class here for 2 people. that it comes equipped with a shower as well as beds for you to sleep on, not photoed here at the moment. We have next the Golden Eagle. We book this one from time to time, extremely popular. The big one we do a lot of these days is the Rocky Mountaineer up in Canada for the Alberta province, as well as British Columbia. So the Rocky Mountaineer is a privately owned luxury train that only services British Columbia and the Alberta province, but a great way to see the Canadian Rockies up close and personal. And you're looking at the Gold Leaf there, the highest upgrade on the train with its panoramic windows, and everything is all inclusive. Now you'll notice the Via Rail in the bottom center of the screen there, the National Train Service. They also have a 5-star accommodation called the Prestige class, and this is really for the customers that want to go across Canada from Toronto to Vancouver, the other way around. That is a 4-night journey across Canada, so this accommodation is wonderful with its own cabin that sort of looks like the Gone train a little bit. All your meals are included, and you get to sit back, relax, and watch the world go by. And of course, the Blue Train in South Africa, one of our newest offerings. And we are making a lot of reservations for the Blue Train in South Africa, probably the world's most luxurious train from my personal perspective, and many others that we do that I have not photoed here above. So moving on, we know because we go. So each year we send our team across the globe to experience our packages, the trains, so we can give you that expertise that you are looking for. So that is basically our rail expertise. So now I'm going to share with you our top trending destinations and the most luxurious trains that you'll want to discover. Now, the first destination will be Switzerland with our scenic journey coming out of Zurich. And this is a 9-day itinerary. I'm going to show you photos of the trains and the destinations here in a moment, but I'm going to give you a bird's eye view. So this journey could either start or end in either Basel or Zurich. What we found is most people are doing a river cruise on the Rhine from Amsterdam to Basel. And since you're already in Switzerland, why not extend your travels a little bit and see this beautiful country? So here's a great way to do it. This journey starts with hotels in St. Moritz, Zermatt, Lausanne, and Lucerne. So you're going to do a full triangle around this great country, as well as do all the luxury rails that come with it here. So the first train is the Bernina Express. Now, Bernina Express travels mainly in the eastern part of Switzerland, coming out of St. Moritz and Chor, and will cross the border into Italy, going to a small town called Tirano. And so when you're in St. Moritz, you're going to get on the Bernina Express and head south into Italy, where you'll get off the train in Tirano, and you'll have about an hour and a half while the train is being refueled and serviced, and leaving you a small amount of time to roam around that great Italian city before you get back on the train and head to St. Moritz. Now, on the Bernina, you have 2 classes of service, standard and first class. You're seeing first class here down here with panoramic windows, concierge service on board the train, so you can purchase basic food and snack while on board this train. But the itinerary is filled with bridges and tunnels, and quite the luxury experience. Now the next train is going to be the Glacier Express, and you're going to be on this train coming out of St. Moritz as you travel through the Swiss Alps over to Zermatt. Now this is probably the most popular luxury train in Switzerland, as it goes through the heart of the entire Swiss Alps. I've been on this train on this exact route. It's about 7.5 hours. It's quite the journey, but the views were just beautiful. As you can see here, you have panoramic windows that line both sides of the train. So there are 3 different classes of service: standard, first class, and the excellent class, which is what I showed you a few slides ago. And now I sat on first class with my coworkers, and we had a great time. Everything is all inclusive, your meals and the onboard entertainment. So you can sit back, relax, and watch the world go by. The meals are delicious. They're made fresh. The trains can accommodate nutritional needs if you have anything like that. But at lunch, I think what do we have? We had a pot roast, soup and salad, cappuccino, and a bottle of wine. That was the meal. Quite the meal too. And so you're certainly going to eat very well on board the train, and obviously enjoy a nice beer or some wine at lunch, very common, of course. And I couldn't get enough of the cappuccino. Being obviously from the States, that's just not something I did a whole lot of until I went to Europe. So anyway, a lot of fun to be had on board the Glacier Express. Now, while on our package, you're going to do a lot of day trips on the cog railways, the Gornergrat as well as the Jungfrau Railway. Now, the Gornergrat, photoed on the left, that is in Zermatt, which is home to the famous Matterhorn. And so when you're on the Gornergrat Railway, this will ascend. It's called a cog railway because it has a tooth-like grip that will ascend and descend a steep mountain at a nice pace. So you don't really feel the altitude adjustments there. But as you can see from the photo I captured from inside the train, you can see the Matterhorn the entire time. And when you get to the top of the mountain, there are hiking trails up there. There's a restaurant. You get to see a glacier up close and personal, and of course all the pictures you can get with the Matterhorn in the background. So that is definitely a lot of fun. The next day train is on the Jungfrau, heading up to Jungfraujoch, known as the top of Europe. It's the highest elevated point. Now, the Jungfrau Railway is a slow-moving cog train. Average speed is about 15 to 22 miles per hour. And this will ascend the steep mountain, and you'll notice the viewing platform in the bottom right of your screen, and that is what you're going to spend seeing once you're up on top of the mountain, the top of Europe. A lot of fun, very beautiful, with snow-capped mountains year around. So on top of the luxury rail, you get these very luxurious day trains in the major cities that we offer. So two of the most popular destinations on this package are going to be Lucerne and Zermatt. So Lucerne is, one of the more popular cities, of course, and it's home to the oldest wooden bridge anywhere in the world, which is photoed here. And now this is right in the city center area. In fact, the train station is just behind this building here. So when you arrive into Lucerne, I walked to the hotel, being only 10 minutes away, but you can easily take a taxi and get around the big city, or you can walk. It's totally up to you. If you use Google Maps on your phone, as long as you have an international plan, you shouldn't have any issue doing that. But the hotels we offer are city center, so you're not far from this bridge as well as from the train station. And then of course Zermatt, which was my favorite city when I was in Switzerland 2 years ago. So Zermatt is one of the highest elevated cities in Switzerland that is 100% pollution free. In fact, the only way to get into the city is by train or by helicopter. There are no automobiles within this mountaintop city, making it 100% pollution free. I don't think I coughed once while I was up there. And this city is great to just simply walk around and get lost in the Swiss culture and their lifestyle up there. And so, when you wake up in the morning, I was out on my balcony, enjoying a cup of joe, and the helicopters are coming in, making the deliveries, for food, and, very interesting. But walking around the city is a lot of fun. They have a lot of great cathedrals, a lot of really good restaurants, and of course you get breathtaking views of the Matterhorn from no matter where you are in this city. Now this city is small, so there's only about 10 hotels or so, and they're all along the main road just opposite the train station. So what you can do is you can get off the Glacier Express. You can request like a miniature taxi, a flatbed golf cart. In other words, they'll load your luggage and they'll drive you to the hotel, which is about 5 minutes away. So this city is easy to navigate. And here again is where the Gornergrat Railway will commence. Okay, so that was our scenic Switzerland. If you have any questions about that, the question box is all yours. But Norway is the next destination that we're getting a lot of inquiries about right now, and one of the most beautiful countries you can see by rail. Our Norway in a nutshell is an 8-day itinerary, round trip out of Oslo that takes in the ferries going through the fjords of Gudvangen, as well as the Flom Railway from Myrtle to Flom, which is very scenic. So here is the Flom Railway. A lot of fun. It's considered a really a basic train. I wouldn't say it's luxurious like the VSOE, for example, but the views are absolutely breathtaking. It's here as the train travels through the mountain terrain that you'll see the lady dancing on the side of the mountain. I forget what they call her, but she's been doing this for a really long time. She comes out once a day. She dances for everybody. It's quite entertaining. I'm told. I've not been to Norway, but that's definitely the highlight of this particular rail route as you make your way into Flom. And so here is Flom over on the right, very villagey type city. It's very small. They only have 2 hotels and really hard to get to unless you're on a boat or by rail coming into this part of the country. And you'll do beer tasting, and I have some info on that, as well as many other activities to choose from. And then, of course, you're going to ferry over, take a bus and a ferry over into Bergen. But then here is Oslo, where this train package will begin, which is round trip. So while in Oslo, we include a hop-on, hop-off tour, as well as a day trip on the harbor, so you can get those harbor views before heading out into the center of the country to go visit Flom on board the Flom Railway. And here is the Fjords Safari boat trip coming out of Flom. Now, this is probably the highlight of the trip right here, getting out on this body of water and seeing the city up close and personal. And then you'll also get to do the Viking plank beer tasting in Flom. This is one of the most well-known activities to do in Flom. I've not done this personally, but here's the photo our team sent us, and it's a lot of fun. So you're definitely going to be able to maintain a social distance while you're visiting this great European country. Okay, the next package and the next destination will be the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express to Venice, coming out of London. And so this package will begin in London with a 1-night stay, so making it easy for you to fly into the country with sightseeing activities for you as well before you get on the VSOE heading over into Venice. Now, like I said before, this train is luxurious, mandatory dress code. So you're certainly going to need to bring, your blazers or a suit or something to that effect. And you're looking at a standard cabin for 2 here, and then of course the grand suite, the ballroom area, the lounging car over on the right. This is where a lot of the entertainment happens at night. So during the day, you're free to be in your cabin. You can roam the train, and you are basically served champagne and caviar all day long. I mean, what could be better than that? And the food is absolutely delicious with its gourmet options. And then at night is when the entertainment begins. Dinner is usually a black tie event, so you're going to need to be prepared for that. But you only spend 1 night on board the train, so you don't have to bring half your wardrobe to be on this train. You just need daytime attire, as well as your evening gowns for the ladies, as well as black ties for the men. And so it's not uncommon to see tuxedos and top hats and things like that. But the onboard entertainment is live with their musical band playing cellos and violins. You're served caviar with champagne. It's just a very luxurious evening before you retire to your cabin for the night. Now, the following day, you're going to wake up and you're going to be in Venice. And there we cap off our package with a 3-night stay in Italy. So while in Venice, you'll have the popular gondola ride, which will take you in between all the buildings, very popular, of course, as well as a walking tour of St. Mark's Square. So you'll get to see the Golden Basilia. You can go island hopping if you'd like. We have a whole arsenal of activities that you can do either in London or in Venice. And so now in London, that's the city you'll arrive into prior to boarding the train. We include a hop-on, hop-off tour, so you can, get to see the city up close and personal, go check out Parliament, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, the London Eye, and more. It's a great way to get around the big city. So just to recap, the VSOE is the main event, but we offer pre-night in London, post-nights in Italy, and wherever else the journey may take you. Okay, so moving on here, let's talk about customization again. What does that mean? Now that I've shown you a few of our packages, you can add on any destination. So for example, since you're already in Venice, after getting off the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, you can add on a destination if you wanted to go to Florence or Rome or the Amalfi Coast, whatever it may be. We can make it a round trip journey, so you can just turn around and head right back to the point of origin, or book a trip in reverse order or something of that combination. So all of our packages are completely flexible for you. You can upgrade to first class. We can add on sightseeing activities. If you want to see something very specific, let us know and we can put that together, or you can upgrade to private tours. So we have something for everybody. Okay, the next package I want to share with you is the Grand Circle of the Canadian Rockies. Now, the Grand Circle, we call it that because you're going to experience both the Rocky Mountaineer and the Via Rail on board this package. So you're going to get the best of both rail worlds up in Canada. Now, this package begins and ends in Vancouver. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Amtrak runs direct service from anywhere in the United States into Vancouver. So if you don't like the fly, if that's something that concerns you, you could always, travel to Canada on board the Amtrak. That is something we do from time to time for people. Now, the Grand Circle will include a night in Kamloops, a 2-night stay in Banff, a 1-night stay in Lake Louise, a 1 night in Jasper, and 1 night on board the Via Rail heading back into Vancouver. So all aboard the Rocky Mountaineer, Canada's luxury rail system. So on this particular train, it only runs during the daytime hours. So the furthest you can get from Vancouver heading to Banff would be Kamloops, about halfway in between. So the train will spend all day going through the terrain. You'll arrive into Kamloops. Rocky Mountaineer will escort you to a hotel and then drive you to the train the following day, and they handle that themselves. You'll spend your second day on board this train heading all the way to Banff. And now there are 2 classes of service on the train, the Silverleaf and the Goldleaf. The Silverleaf sits on the lower level of the train, all inclusive, of course, and you're basically in your seat with the ability to roam the train. You'll be served your meals at your chair, and all of your drinks are a part of your reservation. But if you upgrade to the Goldleaf, you'll sit on the second level of the train. You'll have your own observation car, which is photoed above here with the full glass panoramic windows, making it very easy to see out both sides of the train. You'll have your own dining car, and everything is all inclusive. There's a little bit of a dress code on board this train. They do allow shorts and things like that, but they want khaki shorts that are knee length with polo shirts for the men, things like that. So regular shorts and flip-flops are not acceptable since this is a luxury rail service. And of course, you'll take that train heading all the way into Banff. So here are 2 of the major cities, Vancouver and Jasper. Now, while in Vancouver, we include a hop-on, hop-off tour. So if you'd like to explore the big city, you can do that as well. And then over in Jasper, we can include a day trip out to Jasper National Park, which is photoed here. And that's a full day tour and a lot of fun. So you'll get to definitely see that national park up close and personal. Now, the highlight, as far as I'm concerned, having been through the Canadian Rockies, is going to be Banff and Lake Louise, 2 of the hot destinations. Now, while you're in Banff, you'll be there for 2 nights. So we include a Banff National Park tour, as well as a boat cruise around Lake Louise. So you're going to be taken to Lake Louise for a 1-night stay at the Fairmont Hotel, which is right on the edge of the lake. And there you'll have a boat cruise going around the lake. It's a great R&R destination, and you really don't need more than 1 night. But if you want to stay longer, by all means. And but this is one of the most picturesque places in Canada, as well as in North America, with the turquoise-looking water. You got the snow-capped mountains year-round. There's hiking trails. So if you're an outdoor type of person, then this is a destination worth seeing. Now, while you're on board this package, you're going to have a lot of popular activities to take part in. The first of which would be the Banff Gondola Ride, which is this fully enclosed looking ski lift. It will take you to the top of Mount Sulphur, and you'll get great aerial views of the entire Canadian Rockies. Just hope it's a clear day. And on top of the mountain, they have a museum. where you can learn a lot about the history of Lake Louise and the entire country of Canada for that matter. They even have hiking trails, so you could spend a lot of time up there. And then you'll also do the Icefields Parkway Discovery Tour. So after Lake Louise, you're actually going to head north in towards Jasper, and we include that transportation since the rails don't ride up that way. And you'll do the Icefields Parkway tour where you'll get out on a fully glass observation deck, so you can see not only straight out but straight below your feet, sort of like the sky deck at the Willis Tower if you've ever done that in Chicago. Anyway, but you'll get great views of this glacier, which is photoed here on the right, and the surrounding area. Since that drive from Lake Louise to Jasper is a few hours in length, we'll break it up with this tour so you can be, around the grand beauty of the Rockies up close and personal. Now, after your one-night stay in Jasper, you're going to board the Via Rail for your overnight trip into Vancouver. And on the Via Rail, we can reserve you a cabin for two or a cabin for one if you're traveling by yourself. That will come included with a shower, all your meals, and a private sleeping room. Think of it as a hotel room, but on a moving train. And that'll be the grand circle of the Canadian Rockies. The next destination is going to be Scotland by rail, our complete Scotland. It's a 9-day itinerary, and the highlight of this trip is going to be the Jacobite steam train, which I'll have photos here of a moment. But to give you a bird's eye view, this package will begin in 2 nights in Edinburgh before you take the rail up and through Inverness. And then we have day trips out to the Isle of Skye, Fort William, and Glencoe. And it's from my leg over into Glencoe that you'll be on the Jacobite steam train, Scotland's historic train journey. So here it is for you, fully powered by steam, of course, and the itinerary is filled with bridges and tunnels, so you can see the Scotland countryside with the first class or the standard accommodations on board the train. Our team will walk you through each of these details so you can make an informed decision. But you'll have a lot of day trips on this particular train journey. So Inverness, you have Glencoe, which we stay, where you'll have your hotels, of course. And then, of course, the activities would be the Skip the Line tour for the Edinburgh Castle and the Loch Ness cruise as well. So these are the popular items to do in both of these great countries, and we include them naturally on our package. Now, before I continue on here, for those, for our customers that are going to Scotland, it's not uncommon for us to put together a full trip through the UK as well as Ireland, since you're right there. So we can always adapt this if you want to maximize the time spent over there. So anyway, those are the destinations that I wanted to share with you today. So why take the train? Well, on a motor coach, it's hard to maintain a social distance and you're cramped together with other travelers. On a train, you have plenty of room to roam, your meals are included, and it's more of a luxury way to travel. That's why we highly recommend train travel. So I'm going to catch my breath for a minute, but I'm interested in hearing from you directly now that I've shared all of this with you. Are there any destinations that you guys are considering right now, anywhere in the world that you guys are looking to travel to once you feel it is safe? So you can go into the question box and I'll give you a moment to do that. Okay, seeing some South America, interesting, okay. Our US national parks, Canadian Rockies, okay, very good. Let's see, I'm hearing, what else? Parts of Asia, interesting. Scandinavia, yep, that's a very popular one, very good. Okay, all right, very good. Now, everyone's gonna be traveling at different times, of course, but what is it that's on your mind right now when it comes to traveling? Are you thinking about safety? I'm sure you all are at some level, but what's preventing you from making your reservations, no matter what you're doing, whether it's through us or not? The industry is at a standstill right now in a lot of ways, but what are you guys waiting to happen before you're willing to make reservations? Got somebody here wanting to go across the US from east to west. Very good. I like that. So some of you are saying money is tight, okay, and safety, waiting for my state to open back up. Some mixed signals for safety, okay. Masks should be mandatory. Well, right now they are. You do need to be wearing a mask if you're going to be taking a train anytime soon. And those policies are going to be evolving as all this plays out. Okay, very good, very interesting. All right, well, I'm going to move on here. So I'll be answering your questions here in a moment. I'm noticing a lot of great questions in here. We have some customer testimonials. I'm not going to take too much time to go into all that since you know what that entails. But just recapping why travelers love Railbookers for the reasons I've already discussed: the bucket list itineraries, the scenic way to travel, of course, customized itineraries, and so forth. Here is our maximum flexibility offer again, for those of you that want to know more about that. And being one of the larger independent rail tour operators, we brought home several travel awards last year in the industry for customer service. We've been featured on Wheel of Fortune, Forbes, many other outlets and publications. If you go to our website at railbookers.com, there's all kinds of miscellaneous info I would encourage you to check out. And so you can do that when it's convenient for you. And these are the Railbookers brochures. We have 4 different ones. And so I would encourage you to request at least one of each, and we'll get those out to you as soon as the stay-at-home orders are lifted and the states open back up. But in the meantime, you can view it all at railbookers.com. Our upcoming webinars, this is important information here. We have on June 2nd and 4th, we'll do a escape the beaten off, destinations off the beaten path. If you want to check that out, there's definitely a market for that. And on the 9th and 11th of June, the 5 destinations to consider for your next special occasion. We have to spread out our webinars because we get a lot of inquiries for different destinations, so we spread them out over several weeks. So I would encourage you to watch your emails for those invites. Okay, and please don't forget about the free handouts. Those are important to have, and I am ready to answer your questions here. So give me a moment to browse the questions, and I'm going to go in the order in which they've arrived. So John is here today asking us, how do I get your audio? So John, are you referring to like a recording of this webinar, or maybe you couldn't hear me at first? I'm not sure what you meant by that, if you want to clarify. And let's see here. So let me scroll past the questions I asked you. Sandra's here asking us, does the train to Churchill run year-round? It does not. In fact, the train, I think, just recently started running that service again. So I don't believe it's year-round. I'm forgetting offhand those travel departures. But if you want to give us a call, our team can assist you with that directly. So Michael's asking us, on the Via Rail, what components are overnight on train? Gotcha. So really any parts. So in the Northeast there, Michael, the train ride from Quebec City to Halifax is overnight. The train from Toronto heading to Jasper is 3 nights consecutively on the train, and from Jasper to Vancouver, that is 1 night on board the train. So those are the overnight portions. And if you were to give us a call, our travel consultants would tell you exactly what nights you'll be on the train and how all of that comes together. Okay, let's see here. Tanya is asking us, what is the average price to go? Well, that's tough to answer, Tanya, just because we offer so many different destinations. If you're trying to keep your budget within reason, you may want to consider a North American destination. Canada, even our country, the US, Alaska, we do Alaska Railway as well. And so we can certainly do that. And Karen is here asking us about travel agents and things like that. So Karen, yes, we do work with travel agents, and I can give you a call. We can talk more about that, as we do offer travel agent webinars for all travel agents nationwide. Oh, okay, Michael, I didn't catch that, Michael. The flexibility offer goes to July 31st. One slide had May 31. I may not have caught that, but that was our policy through May 31st, and now it's through July 31st. So it's just evolving. It looks like I just forgot to retype that date, so apologies. But July 31st is when this policy is running through right now, and we'll continue to monitor that as we, see this pandemic continue to unfold or whatever happens here. All right, well, I've answered all the questions that have come in so far. Susan is here. Can we do a Trans-Canada combined with USA West Coast? Absolutely. Let's see here. So you want to go across country. So Susan, where are you located? Where are you from? Are you in the East Coast? Give you a moment to answer that. Pittsburgh, very cool. Okay, I was in Pittsburgh not too long ago. Anyway, well, what you can do is you could always fly to Toronto, or we can put you on the Amtrak. There's ways to do that. Go across Canada, see the Rockies like I outlined earlier, and then if you want to come into the US on the West Coast on the Amtrak, you can certainly do that. So in Vancouver, the Amtrak runs to Seattle. From there, you can either continue south into California on the Coast Starlight, or you can go east across the Northwest into Chicago on the Amtrak Empire Builder. So you have two different routes you can go, and either one is just as scenic. So it's totally up to you how you want to do that, but totally doable. John's asking us, do you offer pricing in Canadian dollars? Yes, we do. John, are you in Canada by any chance? Because we have an office location in Toronto. We have a railbookers.ca website that'll offer, okay, very good. So we're based in Toronto, and if you go to railbookers.ca, you can see all of the all the packages we offer, the same ones I'm doing now, but they're in Canadian currency. So for your clients or for yourself, so you can see that yourself. Very good. You're welcome, Nancy. Very good. All right. Any other questions? You're welcome, Michael. Very good. Let me ask you guys a couple of questions. I got most of you still here. Did you guys get out of this webinar with what you were hoping to gain today? Everybody has different reasons, and there's no way for me to talk about every little destination. So I apologize if I did not go into a country that you're wanting to see. Always give us a call if that's the case. A good overview. Okay, very good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, last but not least, when you're ready, so are we. So like most of you, we've been working from home as well, and but we are easy to get on the phone, and we can make your next dream vacation a reality. So I do thank you for taking the time to spend time with me today. And this webinar is being recorded right now, so we'll get this link sent out to you later today, if not tomorrow. I do have an evening session tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. 6 Central and 4 Pacific Standard Time. And so if you'd like to re-register, if you came in late today and want to rewatch anything, please re-register yourselves, and I'll see you online here in just a few short hours. But thank you for your time today. We certainly hope that we will hear from you all very soon, and we wish you all and your family safety and health right now. So thank you so much for your time, and God bless.